Peace family, Vie Darling, the cosmic queen and your intergalactic interpreter, and we are here for another cosmic tea. Yes, this is for the week of the 26th of June, because that's what today's date is. And these are from my sartorial fine art project, 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗍 at 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗍.ltd on Instagram. They're sold at 𝗪𝘁𝘁 in Bushwick off the Jefferson L. They are also sold at Cherry Bomb Studios, NYC, in the Lower East Side. So if you're interested in getting a pair from either of those places, you can also custom order a pair for yourself, if that's something that you want to do. But yeah, let's get down to business. You know it's getting serious when I put my glasses on. Just joking. That doesn't actually mean that it's getting serious, because I just have poor eyesight. I got a notification on my phone, but I think I'm just gonna let it rock. Okay, that's fine. Awesome. Okay, let's get down to business. I hope that y'all can hear me. I don't want to have to test and make sure if you can, but I'm going to test and make sure, because it's really frustrating when it happens like this. It seems that you can hear me. Okay, let's get into it. Spirit, Creator, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I cannot, the wisdom to know the difference, remove my fear, and leave that by me, be of service to the collective. Protect this space and all who enter it, that only sacred divine energies may engage here. Sanctify this space. Let it may reflect your glory. Imagine your presence. Space and it may be a welcoming space for higher truths. Through me what it is you have spoken. Reveal through me what it is you have me reveal. Show through me what it is you have me show. Move through me what it is you have me move. Work through me what it is you have me tell. Okay. So a couple things. One is that I have had this line stuck in my head for like days now, and it's like, lost all respect, you not a threat. When I shoot my shot, that's your ready like I'm Shaq. See the steps that I took. I don't remember what song that's from. Lost all respect, you not a threat. For me, it's from Sicko Mode. Let me just find it, 'cause it's taking too long. Cactus Jack. I forgot about that. 𝗨𝗏𝗱𝗲. Okay, so he like gets it in the hoop. Okay, cool. He doesn't miss when he shoots, essentially, is what he's saying. Lost my respect. You're not a threat. I think he's probably talking about Kanye. Yeah, Drake has pending vendettas, namely his beef with Kanye and Pusha T that was reignited in May 2018. This dumbass shit. Prince allegedly convinced Drake not to release a career-ending diss record toward Pusha T. Instead, Drake has been dropping subliminal bars in many of the verses that have been released since Pusha T's Infrared and the Story of Added On. For example, on his track 8 out of 10, Kiss My Son on the Forehead, Then Kiss Your Ass Goodbye. As luck would have it, I've settled into my role as the good guy. I don't think that's true. I think Drake tries really hard to make it seem like he's actually the bad guy, but whatever. The point is that when I shoot my shot, that shit wetty like I'm Shaq. So yo, it's going down. Like, everything is about to happen. Like, what it is you've been working towards, what it is you've been calling in is coming. Because you may have thought that you missed like the boat, you may have thought that you missed your target, like, but you haven't. Like, you haven't. It's I'm seeing it as like maybe you took a detour and you thought that it was like, you thought, okay, this is the fastest way to go down this road and this is what I should do. And so you started doing it. It's like, why isn't it working for me? All these other things keep coming up. Oh, now I have to like take a detour. Like, what? Understand that when you have to take a detour on the road, it's because something's wrong with the original road. You know what I mean? Like, you try to go, listen, if your flight is not flying out, there's a reason for that. Maybe it's because there's a thunderstorm or like a tropical depression, or I'm hearing tropical depression. So there is a tropical depression keeping your plane from flying. Maybe it's because there's a blizzard. You know what I mean? What about tropical depression, Spirit? What about tropical depression? Just take out my cards. What about tropical depression? I'm hearing like ancestral drums, and it's like all of the ancestors, all of the indigenous ancestors are taking back what is rightfully theirs. Hey, Orca Nation. Orca Nation, 3 of Wands. And the Emperor, tropical depression. So essentially, like, you know, the deluge was a storm. It was a big storm that destroyed. I gotta be honest, I feel like probably like with the deluge, like, just given the advancements that we've made scientifically, it very well could have been like a tropical storm that destroyed a bunch of villages because they weren't as like built up. But I'm sure that's like not necessarily true, but that's something that's coming through for me right now. It's funny because I talked about nitpicking, and then I saw a TikTok about it yesterday, and how it's like trying to get to perfection even though nobody, which is not necessary. But I'm nitpicking, yeah, because I'm trying to control things. I'm trying to get, well, right now I'm nitpicking because like I'm trying to get to a place of feeling comfortable. But now's not the right time. Now's not the right time for me to be doing what I'm doing. But I feel uncomfortable, so I feel like I need to do it now. See, so this is what they're saying is like, we don't need to do the things that we think that we need to do. If we're not able to do them, that's okay. And that's just the way that it is. And that's frankly the way that it's supposed to be. Not everything is going to happen in your timing, because it's really not about your timing. It's about divine timing. This is a very fated time right now. And we have to just like understand that we got to get out of our own way. Okay, so with this tropical depression, it's talking about like the storm that has come to destroy the old structures that were causing harm and that were problematic and that were really, really bad. So Spirit, with the Two of Swords, you can either choose to fall back into your old patterns, or you can choose to go or you can choose to do things a different way, which is the way that you're being offered. And that way that you're being offered is just like, it's going to change from time to time, because really all that is higher power like guiding you, going based on, as I said, divine timing. When I shoot my shot, that shit wetty like I'm Shaq. See, higher power is saying right now, and I'm splitting this into two piles. I'm splitting this into two piles because we got the Two of Swords here, got the Three of Wands and the Emperor. And then underneath that, we get the Two of Swords. And so there are two ways that we can go. We can go to the Eight of Cups in reverse, which is not going to bring us any fulfillment. And honestly, I feel like this is like us just doing the most, more than what is necessary, more than what we've actually even been asked to do, because we've actually been asked to rest, versus going the way of the Emperor, which is leading us to the Sun. Under the Sun, we have death, and under that, we have the Knight of Cups. See, it's like, why am I doing this right now? I can't help myself. I think that's another thing that's going to like come up, is like compulsive behaviors. And for me, nitpicking is a compulsive behavior. It's definitely a trauma response. But so if we just sit in our power and understand that we are sovereign, and that like everything that's happening is for a reason, and we don't really need to like worry ourselves about it, we don't need to put pressure on ourselves to do any more than we're capable of doing, that's going to change up everything. That's going to change the game. You know, just really exemplifying our love, our light from within us. That's going to cause all of this new growth, this beautiful growth to happen in our lives. And it's going to be a big, big transformation for us, okay? Like, it's going to be a really big transformation. This is really frustrating to me. Such an inopportune time. But so I guess like this week, it's going to feel like an inopportune time. We're going to want to do, okay, so if you feel like you want to do a pause or change locations or whatever you've been wanting to do that you feel like you really need to do, but you feel like the circumstances aren't right, you might be like, this is not the right time for me to be doing this. This is like, but it is actually the right time for you to be doing it. Like, this is what you are being called to do. This is what you're being asked to do. So, yeah, Spirit's just saying, like, doesn't really matter. So, like, I'm not so concerned with what you think is the right time. I know what the right time is, and all the plans that I was laying out, this is what is supposed to happen right now. okay? If you take the side of the Emperor, that is intuitively guided, because we have the moon pointing in that, on that side of where the sword is directed. So the side of the Emperor is divinely guided, just sitting in your power, knowing that you are manifesting everything that you need. You're calling in everything that you need in order to do what it is that you need to do. What might be coming up is like feelings that you don't want to deal with. Feelings that it's like this is inopportune. Conflicts with people might be coming up as well. But just stay in your power. You know what I mean? Like, stay in your power, because this is going to change everything so that you're able to move forward with your power fully intact and fully exemplified. And nobody, with the Tower in reverse under that, nobody's going to be able to take from you what it is you are building. However, if you choose to try and control the situation, Three of Wands is really about a coming together of energy, but it's like alchemical coming together of energy. And I feel like, yeah, it's just this idea of like, oh, I need to transmute this. Like, tornado annihilates buildings, debris explodes into the air as a twister carves through Greenwood, Indiana. Yeah, so there's destruction on, like, we are in the path of destruction right now. We're in the storm. I'm hearing Eye of the Tiger. We're in the storm, and this is because, like, this stuff needs to be removed. This stuff needs to be torn down. You don't need to get in the way or involve yourself. All you really need to do is ground yourself deeper so that you don't get torn up in the crosshairs, okay? Because if you try to interfere too much, if you try to alchemize this situation, if you try, which is you trying to inject control, if you try to like control this situation, it's only going to cause you further harm. It's a waste of your energy to try and do that. Okay? Page of Wands underneath. I'm gonna open my window. Excuse me. Didn't expect it to be so hard. Just to let a little bit of fresh air in. And I'm gonna turn off my air conditioning. So yes, I am also pretty chilly. It's because of the air conditioning. It's blowing directly on me. Anyway, either way, you're gonna learn a valuable lesson, but it's a valuable lesson that you didn't need to learn if you had just sat your ass down. Okay, we have Four of Swords, or sorry, that's Five of Swords. I do feel like it's winning a battle that was unnecessary. Winning a battle that was unnecessary and yeah, because you didn't need to fight that battle. I feel like that's actually the detour. You think that you're on a detour, but you're actually, like, that's not the detour. That's just getting out of alignment and going off of your path. And one might make you feel gratified in the present moment. And that would be pile one, where with the Three of Wands and the Eight of Cups in reverse. But obviously it's the Eight of Cups in reverse. Like, you're actually going to feel so depleted. You don't already I feel like most of us don't even have energy to like do that kind of work right now. And we have enough energy to get through the day and just really like ride it out, whatever it is like we're dealing with. But otherwise, the other side is it might take a little bit longer to feel the gratification that we're looking for somatically, but it will pay off much more, and there's much more to be gained, and there's more stability to be had, and ultimately it is intuitively guided, so it is aligned with your spiritual path, and as it is the Emperor card, and then the Sun, and then Death, and then Knight of Cups, and then the Tower in reverse. It's very fated. It's very much a lot of karma. It's a lot of really big energy with it being so much major arcana. And y'all saw that I shuffled the deck. So what this says to me is that, like, if you just trust your intuition and you trust yourself and you trust your higher power, you can trust your higher power and you can trust your intuition, and you can trust yourself if you have cultivated a good relationship with the higher power of your understanding. If your higher power is like an asshole to you, then that shouldn't be your higher power. You know what I mean? Like, your higher power should be one that you can take absolutely every part of yourself to. Okay, so I know that we're getting down to the wire and it's kind of feeling like really stressful, but what Spirit wants you to know is that whatever lack you perceive, it's not real. You have absolutely everything that you need. Any of the issues that you're seeing in the false matrix, well, that's the false matrix. And like I said in our last live, we don't need to worry about the false matrix. What we really need to worry about is Spirit and the true matrix, because honestly, like, the true matrix is where karma comes from. Like, to be very real, like, money is just a symbol. And I mean, that's not to say that like prosperity is not real, that abundance is not real, that quantities aren't real. But money, as it relates to a social structure such as capitalism, that has to do with the false matrix. Okay, so I would recommend not worrying about the false matrix and instead really focusing in on the true matrix, because in that space, that's where we manifest from. And we can better call in our higher power. We can better call in, sorry, I'm like so distracted by my nails right now. I gotta do them after this. But like, yeah, I don't know what that is, but anyway, yeah, I guess it's like I said, like, there are things that like we're getting distracted with. For me, I feel like this is actually a waste of like valuable time. But it's in service of this lesson. So that's what this is saying. Actually, it's like me doing that is like helping me to get clear on what I need to express for what's coming up this week. It's very annoying though, but it's helping me to teach the lesson. And that's what we're seeing on the left-hand side. It's like, I'm nitpicking, so I want to get things perfect, so I'm trying to change things, and it's really not even time to be engaging with that, but I have the option, I have the opportunity, and so I'm taking it to do something that like is completely unnecessary and perhaps even inappropriate. And ultimately it serves a purpose, but if I could just get into my body and activate like mind over matter, and just be like, okay, this is a thing that's annoying me and making me uncomfortable, and I don't have to let it control my actions. I don't have to let it control what I do. If you notice, there have been a lot of distractions come up today in this reading. A lot of little changes, a lot of things have been like popping up. And so I do think that that's energy that's going to carry on throughout the week, because this is the cosmic tea for the week. So that's what I have to say about that. Whatever you do, do not waste your time and energy trying to fix something that it's not worth fixing. Stop getting involved in things that really don't need your energy. If people want you involved in their drama, if people that you know are not good for you, okay, let me put it this way. Some of the issue is that people will be like trying to get you to, one, be in drama with them, and you just have to be like, no, I'm not interested, sorry, like that's not who I am. I don't know anything about this. Like, this seems like it's between you and this person. Best of luck with all of that. Okay, instead of being like, oh my gosh, like I can help these people, I can fix this situation. Like, no, let it go. Don't over involve yourself in things that have nothing to do with you. It's not serving your bottom line. And the best that can happen is that you're going to learn the lesson that you shouldn't have involved yourself. Conversely, it may be like, oh, they want you to help them build something, create something, and it really doesn't serve you. It's not really giving anything to you. You might be somebody who thinks like, well, I shouldn't think that way because it's selfish. It's like, no, actually, that's just how energy works. That's called energetic hygiene. This is not serving you. If you know that like you don't have the energy for it, you don't need to do that. The reason that they want you, they can find someone else to help them. The reason they want you is because they know that you are the emperor. They know that you have the Midas touch. That like you will turn whatever it is into gold. What they have is not gold, and it's not going to benefit you. It's not going to help you at all to involve yourself in it. And this can apply to work. This can apply to interpersonal relations. This can apply to family, obviously. Any kind of relationship this applies to. When you are aware of your power and you are self-sovereign, you will be sitting there and you'll be like, okay, this is not going to help me in any way. And in fact, it's going to take away from me, and I'm not interested in that, so I'm not going to do it. And then you just tell them, sorry, I can't be involved in this. I just have I have to focus on what I've got going on. That, I think, is what you want to do when you get presented these situations. It's like this desire to really preen, to remove anything that's like unsavory, not just for vanity's sake, but for for energetic hygiene, for spiritual hygiene's sake. Manicure. Well, y'all know the reason why. I don't know if I actually posted that live or whatever, but the reason why I don't get manicures where I am is because they're really bad. Like, I had the most painful manicure of my life, where my fingers were hurting for days after, so I have to do it myself. But yeah, just take care of yourself. Focus on yourself this week. Okay, let's look at the chart. In fact, let's get an overall. I think that is the energy for overall. Sorry, this is like really uncomfortable. But like I said, mind over matter. I don't have to give in to my discomfort. So what's been coming up for me? So this song that's in my head, personally, I'm attributing it to, people who have caused me harm, who want to come back into my life. Just like I said, like, that over the weekend, people are going to probably start, like, popping up. You may be thinking about them a lot, because you might be the person who did harm, but you might be cross-watching. You might be cross-watching. But also, if you did, you may have been the person who did harm. So you might be thinking about them a lot, but if you're not, you might be thinking about them because they're thinking about you. And so you're not really thinking about them, you're actually just sensing their energy and picking up on what they're thinking. And these people who have caused harm to you in this way, they are not worth it. They have lost all respect. Okay, they've shown who they are. And I would just really encourage you to not go back. Don't go back into those, like, unhealthy, toxic relationships, because you are going to be the one who regrets it. And you might be like, oh, they played me. No, you played yourself, because you know better. You know better. They have not changed. They haven't changed. And ultimately, it's like what I said about Katy Perry in my story, like having a reptilian family. You have to understand that everybody has a reptilian brain. It's the basal ganglia. That's what scientists call it, psychologists call it, neuroscientists call it, the reptilian brain. It is where our primal functioning happens. A lot of us, some of us, people who are drawn to my energy, generally tend to be people who are operating from a much higher level of sophistication. And neurodevelopment. And so I think that a lot of the time when we hear neurodivergent, we think that that is like neuroregressed, but actually it's neuroprogressed. And I would even say, like, the work here is about optimization. It's not about lowering ourselves. It's about fine-tuning so that we are able to function at our highest, to our highest good, and to the highest good of all those around us, all those who interact with us, and the collective. I think what would help is if I just filed my nails, but anyway. My throat is like a little bit tight. I think that it's because I had this salsa earlier. But I've never noticed it to do that, so that's weird. Let's get into, I guess this is a short reading today. Let's get into the practical advice. So we're not talking about what's happening in the cosmos or anything like that. What I did notice today, though, was like I feel like the root of all evil is being removed. The root of all evil, and it's fear. It's fear of ourselves, it's fear of our power. And that's being removed. Where can we see that in the chart? When I think about fear and I think about personal power, okay? and I think about root, first we're going to talk about the first house. We're going to talk about the 8th house, and we're going to talk about the 12th house. We may also talk about the 2nd house. We may also talk about the 3rd house. All of these things, they all have to do with one another. However, when I talk about fear, I look at Neptune and I look at, yeah, I'll look at Pluto, but I'll definitely look at Neptune when I talk about fear. Why am I even using this? Like, I don't need this right now. Let's get something from the Crystal Oracle deck for overall energies. Though I think that we got it. I want a theme. I'd like a theme, please. 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝗲𝗋. That's the name of a knife in Wicca. So that represents air qualities and properties. You know why I got so good at tarot so quickly is because I'd already spent so many years studying Wicca, occult and esoteric symbology, all that kind of stuff, like Eastern medicine, Western psychology, and things like this. So by the time I started doing tarot, it's like it was so easy for me to tune into the energy, and also it was so easy for me to be clear on what I was like seeing. But yeah, so we're looking at Neptune because it has to do with fear, faith and fear. It has to do with Neptune. It has to do with Pisces. So it also is going to have to do with Jupiter, and because it's personal power, we're also going to look at seriously, it's been like so annoying, just like little annoying things like inconveniencing me not all day, but for the past like couple of hours. So I feel like that's gonna be like coming up, and honestly it's just like, don't make a bigger deal out of anything than it needs to be. It's like, okay, it's a little annoying thing, like I can let this go, let me stay in my sovereignty. It's not gonna like, let me not allow this to pull me out of my sovereignty, because it's just the false matrix trying to like get me down. So you might have like money issues this week. You might get really stressed out about like money issues because something might come up that you're not prepared for. But we have, in the sign of Pisces, we have Neptune at 3 degrees and Chiron at 25 degrees. And I think this is the sidereal chart. And it's in the 2nd house. And Neptune at 3 degrees and 29 seconds is making an opposition to the moon and vertex at 5 degrees of Virgo. And 14 seconds and 49 seconds in the 8th house. I feel like divine union is happening, and they're just going to try and do anything that they can to keep divine union from happening. Nothing is perfect. See, this is what the nitpicking is going to do. Nitpicking actually, like, perfect is the enemy of good. Because let me tell you, when that lady overpicked my cuticles, that shit hurt. She hurt me and she caused me to bleed, and my fingers were in pain for days after. Okay? 𝗪𝗖𝗪𝗧 and aventurine, 2 green. So this has to do with the heart chakra. Grow from your heart out. Aventurine, show off your sparkle. Because aventurine has this thing called aventurescence. This is green. No, this is green tanzerite. This is not aventurine, but it looks like it. This is green tanzerite, and then I have a cherry tanzerite somewhere. Hypnotic green 𝗪𝗧. So this has to do with the heart chakra. Hypnotic green 𝗪𝗧 is a rare stone with a heavy helping of nickel, hence its mesmerizing verdant hue. Explorers searching for the fountain of youth. And when we talk about the fountain of youth in this practice, we're talking about the high heart chakra. Actually, the waters of life, giving me life, as we were talking about. This has to do with being in the flow of life. And when we're in the flow of life, then we can access the fountain of life, the Christ waters, really the amniotic fluid of the universe, which is the cosmic bag. So this also has to do with the sacral chakra. And are we really in our power? Are we grounded in our integrity? Because if we're grounded in our integrity, then we are going to always attract things that are aligned with us. But if we're not, then even if it looks like it's for us on the outside, it's not really going to be for us. You can go ahead. I'm going to share it on this page. Actually, I don't know why I didn't, but I'm going to share it on this page. But if you go to my, I guess I'll just have to make some new art for it. But if you go to my Medium or my Substack, I shared the Decolonize This PUSSY, because I don't know why it's not available on the website, but I didn't ask her why, but I know that it's not like for anything, but it's not available on the website. So go on and you can go on my Medium or my Substack, which I think might be linked in the bio. If not, I'll try to make sure that's easily accessible for y'all. But I think that most of the people who follow me here also follow me on my main page, and it is linked in my bio, which you probably saw today on my main page. So this is really asking us to ground into our integrity and not get taken off course. Because things are going to be coming up that are going to be asking us to acquiesce. Squeeze, where to put it, squeeze Chris's face against your heart and tell your inner child how much you love them, then cry forever. Yeah, because it's like, grow from your heart out. This has to do with Jupiter at 14 degrees and 11 seconds in the third house in Aries. Also here we have the North Node at 6 degrees, and we have Uranus at 27 degrees. And so this is really, you know, when we change how we act, we change our timelines and what timelines are available to us. So this is about breaking out of those old patterns that were holding you back. And all of these little things that are going to be coming up are opportunities for you to not let it become the whole of your world. Like, oh my God, why has this always happened to me? See it as, this is an opportunity for me to put an end to these kinds of things coming up in my life, at least as often as they have in the past. Yeah, you got to take action. You got to take action. And you have to take action to create a safer world for your inner child and for you when you reincarnate. Think about it that way. Like, why is it worth me doing any good? That's why they try to like stop us from being spiritual, is because like if we're spiritual and we understand that like reincarnation is a thing, then it's like, well, I had better act in a way that's going to serve me in the future. You know what I mean? We don't poison the planet when we know that this is the planet that we live on and are going to be inheriting when we reincarnate. You know what I mean? And Jupiter is making a sextile to... Yeah, it's a sextile to Saturn retrograde in Aquarius in the first house, and the Sun at 9 degrees of Gemini in the 5th house. Just thinking about the number 9. Yeah, we're still, listen, it's not an either or type thing. the idea that, like, because energy is spectral, so it's like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and that can get really exhausting, and that can get really frustrating, and that can get really tiring. But understand, it is coming. And not only is it coming, but it's already here. We just need to embody it more and express it more. And the more that we embody it, and the more that we express it, and the more that we let go of control so that I can manifest in the here and now, the more that it does that. So this is why we have to let go of this, like, obsession to be right or to nitpick things, because it's not benefiting us. Let it go, especially if it doesn't have anything to do with you. If you can't control it, the only thing that you control, you can only control your own actions, period. Period. You can only control your own actions. So be mindful about where you're directing your energy. Don't get caught up. 18:44 on the clock. Just wanted to say that. 6:44. Don't get caught up, because you might think that it's not happening, but it is. The more that you shine your light, the more that people are going to see it, and that's going to bring more into your life. The more that you create from, like, that inner child space, the more that you tap into your creativity, you tap into your truth, and you express from that space, the more that you are going to program your matrix and fine-tune your matrix to be in alignment with you. It's not about controlling anybody else. It's really about doing what you got to do. And that can be really scary for people, and so people can have a tendency to be like, what? Like, I'm calling in everybody. I'm calling in everything. I'm doing all of the manifestation practices. Okay, but, like, you don't need to be delusional, actually. You need to actually believe what you're saying. Is it delusional to believe that you're that girl, like, that you're that girl? Is it delusional to believe that you can be successful? Like, why would you call that delusional? I don't understand that, and that's why I don't fuck with that, like, oh, be delusional rhetoric. Like, no. There is a version of you out there that is that, and it's the version of you that you know in your heart that you're meant to be, but you're afraid to be that because of whatever happened in your past that caused you to embody this fear. Well, all I can tell you is choose that version of yourself. Choose that version of yourself. Bypass the, oh, I'm building to be that person, and just get to the, no, I am that person. I've always been that person. I've always been that person. It's always been there, but it's been obfuscated by shadow. It's been obfuscated by fear. You gotta speak it, and you gotta be it, and you gotta show it, and you gotta do it. And I'm not saying go out and be like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, no, like, if you want, say you want to collaborate with someone, right? And you have imposter syndrome, because that's what we're talking about, basically. You have imposter syndrome. It's like you've done so many great collaborations in the past. You know that your product is bitchin', it's hot. Like, there is no reason why anyone shouldn't desire it, right? It's valuable. It's worthwhile. It brings value to the lives of those who have it. You know this in your heart, and you know this in your mind, and you want to collaborate with another brand. And this can apply to, like, anything. It could apply to, you know, if you're a writer and you want to write for a publication, if you're you have an idea for a movie and you want to pitch it to a studio, if you are going on a job interview, if you are going on a date, you know, what have you, you're asking for a grant, you're applying to grad school, whatever, like, you know that you have something of value to offer. But whatever happened in your past shook your confidence. And so you're writing to these people from a place of like desperation and not really fucking with yourself. Meanwhile, you have a track record of producing great work. You have a track record of being a great partner. You have a track record of, I don't know, being a really great student. You know, one has to remember when it comes to things like school and stuff like that, like, one thing that I told myself when I was in school is like, these people are going to, when I blow up and my career goes off, you know what I mean? They're going to be bragging about the fact that I went to their school. Just like Hunter College did not treat Audre Lorde right. They didn't. And she wrote an open letter about it. That's where the master's schools will never dismantle the master's house came from. And she was speaking at NYU, where she was teaching at the time. And they waited until the absolute last minute, literally, she says in the letter, literally waited until the last minute to ask her, because I think a white woman had dropped out, to ask her to speak at a conference. And so this letter essentially is actually a speech that she gave. And now, okay, I'm talking about NYU, but like, as an academic, also, she didn't get the credit that she deserved at Hunter either. Right? And so now, was it last year? I was walking down the street and I thought that I had entered a mandala effect, like different universe, because all of a sudden I see that, what is it, 68th Street, or whatever, has been renamed Audre Lorde Way. Meanwhile, I went to Hunter for a few different reasons, but one of the main reasons that I went to Hunter is because of Audre Lorde. Because I read this book on my flight back to New York from London. And it's very small. It's a collection of her essays. But I read the book on my way back to New York from London, and I was moved and I was changed, and I found out that she went to Hunter, and like, I had heard great things about Hunter, and I was like, okay, I'm going to Hunter. I had heard great things about their MFA program, especially. And so you know, I think about it and I think like, one day, specifically Hunter is gonna be like, Vie Darling went here. One day, my professors, including the ones who treated me poorly, are going to be like, you know who one of my students was? Vie Darling. I think about that, you know what I mean? And like, I don't owe them anything, because I'm not a gambling person. I don't gamble. I don't take bets more than $4. That's literally all I'm willing to bet. That's why when I invested in the stock market, I only invested $4 in each of the stocks that I bought. And now I see that like, it's something that like, it's not as risky as I thought it could be. But it had to prove itself to me over time. And now I can invest more than $4 into it. Okay? But when it comes down to me, it's not a bet. It's not a bet. It's not a risk. I can count on me. Unless I die, in which case it doesn't fucking matter. But like, unless I die, like, I know that I'm gonna do all the shit that I said that I was gonna do, and I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. And my ability is pretty fucking great. So I'm not worried about any of that. You know what I mean? I might not be where I want to be right now, but I know that there was a promise put on my heart, a message put on my heart, a purpose put in my heart, and a promise to see it fulfilled as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, what I've been called to do, and what I'm being called to do. So that's what happens when we choose that Emperor energy as opposed to the Three of Wands energy. We don't have to make something happen. If we're in our power, it just happens. It's just too much of like, oh, I gotta manifest this, I gotta manifest that. No, it's important to know what you want. Yes, it's important to know what you want, but it's really more important to like, I mean, that's a whole part of knowing who you are and what you are and being in your power. So when you're going back to this example, when you're writing these other brands for this collaboration, you know, don't write it as if they're doing a favor for you. Write the truth, which is that it's mutually beneficial. Well, why should I date you? Well, I'm not saying you should, but I'll tell you, I bring this. I know what I have to offer. People will be like, oh, like, as far as women are concerned, like, oh, what do you bring to the table? Let me tell you something. We live in a colonial structure that is buoyed by cis heteropatriarchy and desirability politics. Okay? So being with a hot femme who is highly desired, that upgrades somebody's status. It is nothing but a benefit to them. Understand that much. And if you don't understand the context of the world in which you live, the social constructs of the world in which you live, you don't understand the false matrix, that's why we talk about it, then you're constantly going to be looking in a funhouse mirror. And you're constantly going to be doing extra work that's not necessary. Yes, there's the matrix, and then there's the false matrix. And unfortunately, the false matrix is the dominating social reality. And so it is a factor that we need to engage with. This is really frustrating. Anyway, whatever. Yep. It's the dominating reality. I'm sorry, y'all. I really need to file my nails, but my nail file is in my room. Anyway, it's also very much an anxiety thing, a control thing, definitely a big trauma response, so I apologize. So I have to do something with my hands. I'm gonna play with my beads. I hope that's not like too annoying of a sound. I don't know where my goo is. It's a very ADHD thing. I apologize, everyone. When to use 𝗪𝗪, when it's time to forgive that person who hurt you most, your parents, and most of all yourself. You are not a doormat. You are an evolved being. When you feel like giving up on love, 𝗪𝗪 gives you the green light to keep going. Okay, so really making wise decisions here from a grounded place of integrity and not wasting our energy, which is limited in this time. Be very intentional about where you are placing your energy and your time. Don't just apply for all kinds of brand collaborations. Apply for the ones that you actually want. Apply for the ones that are actually going to fit your life, that actually complement your brand, that are going to actually do something for you. I talk a lot about it this way because I have a Capricorn moon, and I do believe that Capricorn is a sign that is like a master of branding, and a master of, because it's about creating structures, right? I believe that Capricorns can often be masters of branding and marketing. Gemini, also master of marketing, but more so, you know, you have to lay the foundations of what the brand is. You know, like, I love creating a business plan. I fucking love creating a business plan. It's like a puzzle. You know, it's so satisfying and gratifying when it's like, okay, I made this thing and like, here, it works, it functions, it operates like effectively. That's very much Capricorn energy, and this is what we're getting here. Like I said, Capricorn has a lot to do with, people think it has to do with career. No, it actually has to do with lifestyle. Your career is just one part of your lifestyle. But it also has to do with legacy. So, because that has a lot to do with karma. What kind of life are you living? Is it the kind of life that you want to be remembered for? Okay, well then don't do those things. So, do you want to be remembered for working with a brand that you really don't fuck with? Or a company, corporation, person, whatever, or a person dating a person that like... Just look at Taylor Swift, for instance. Taylor Swift is dating a Nazi. She don't care. She does not care. She does not care because she knows that her fan base don't care. But in the long run, it's like, I don't know, bro. Is that something that you like? You want D so badly that you're willing to ruin your reputation, like as a celebrity whose entire reputation is based off of, I mean, their money is based off of their reputation and being liked. It's not based off of whether you can sing or not, because there's a lot of celebrities who can't sing and who are singers. It's based on, do people desire you? And are they willing to invest in what you have to offer? That's really what the question is. How much draw do you have? How much impact do you have? Okay, so we'll invest in you if we can amplify. We'll invest in you to amplify your impact because we know that it will pay off for us. So we'll make you more impactful than you already are. And you don't actually have to be talented to be impactful. You don't have to be talented to be desirable. And you can be taught to be any of those things. And we know that that's the whole nature of celebrity. If I know that my brand is about decolonization, then maybe I don't want to team up with mobile gas or shell gas. You know what I mean? Oh, it's good. It's going to be a good look for me. Or it's not going to be a good look. You know it's not going to be a good look. It can get me a lot of money. I mean, it's really not aligned with your integrity, and it might, like, if you say yes to it, maybe that's going to take up the space of 5 other brand deals that are going to be better for you, more aligned with who you are and your brand. And will end up paying that same amount of money. And it's better to have those 5 smaller ones that are more aligned with you, and you still end up with the same amount of money and you still are staying true to your integrity, than to have the one big one that pays you one time, one lump sum, probably less than what you deserve, and it's actually a really bad look, and you're gonna have to spend a lot of time recovering. So, you know something, I was thinking about this person that I like low-key talked to for a minute, maybe like honestly less than a month. And it didn't even start off as like anything romantic. They reached out to me and I only answered because like this, how do I put this? They reached out to me and I was just like offering a hand of like, hey, yeah, you know, you need to talk, you need support. I am happy to listen. And it turned into low-key talking for a little. And then I started to realize like that they were really weird and that I didn't really like them very much, and they started just being like really narcissistic. But in that time period, my aunt had just died, and I was like, literally, I met them like the month after my aunt died. It was the month after I like went back to my hometown for the funeral. I saw my family of origin for the first time, and that was really triggering and traumatic experience for me for the first time since I got sober, because it was the first time since lockdown that I had seen them and that we had been all gathered in that way prior to me getting sober. And you know, I was going through a really tough time at that point in my life, and I really needed someone, is how I felt. And today I was journaling about this, and I was like, you know something, in those times where we feel like we really need someone or something to help us to feel better, that's the perfect time to turn to God. That's actually the perfect opportunity for us to turn to our higher power and to develop a closer, deeper relationship with our higher power. And that's why I've said before, like, yo, like, I don't believe in best friends. I don't have a best friend. My best friend is God. Like, seriously, like, my relationship, I don't believe in a best friend, because people are fallible. They will fail you. And that's just what they do. That's what I'm going to do for anybody, because I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. But I can grow a deeper relationship with a higher power that cares for me, and I can grow more resilient, and I can grow stronger and wiser and strengthen my foundation without making decisions that are going to, in the long run, hurt me and impact me negatively. Sure, there's a lesson to be learned, of course, but that's the lesson for me. You know what I mean? Like, the lesson for me is, one, I didn't want to engage with this person to begin with. They called me at 8 p.m. and I was just like, it's real late for you to be calling me. But I figured maybe it was an emergency. It wasn't an emergency. Well, I mean, it kind of was, because they had like lost power in their house upstate, and they were like trying to figure that out. So it was kind of an emergency, but it wasn't anything like dire. And honestly, so I was just on the phone with them to support them. They were just talking to me about like their life or whatever, and I was like, okay, that's all cool or whatever. And then I remember what it was. They saw me wearing a shirt about a company that we both know, and they wanted to talk to me about the company, and like beef that they had with the company and all this other shit. And I was like, oh, facts, for real? And so we had that conversation, and like we had a lot of things in common, but I denied to myself that it was in any capacity like this person was trying to spit game to me. But then it became clear that they were, and I was just like, you know what? They're cute or whatever. Like, I need attention. I want attention. I'm bored. I need to get outside of myself. And so this was another point in time where I was like, hey, maybe I should start dating. And that was a mistake, because I did go on a date at that time with somebody that I met online, and it was a hot ass mess. They were definitely like catfishing. And it was just an opportunity. But that time, one told me that like I actually need to be alone. There's still stuff. And this was a time when like I shared with y'all about this, like this guy was really attractive and he's just looking for friends with benefits type thing. And I was like, that's fine, that's cool. What's your energetic hygiene like? Like, what's your spiritual hygiene like? And he got tight. He got so tight. He was like so mad that I asked him that. And it's like, bro, like, you claim to be spiritual. I'm just saying, like, I don't mind if you are like hooking up with other people, but you need to clean your spiritual body before we ever hook up, because I'm not picking up your energy and the energy of all these bitches that you've been hooking up with. So that didn't happen, but that taught me the importance of, like, you know, humans, people's, I'll just say it how they say it. Man's rejection is God's protection. Like, rejection is God's protection. God protected me from getting with somebody who clearly was not right for me. And also taught me a valuable lesson that, like, you know, it's really not that deep. It's not worth it to me to get with somebody who, like, doesn't even know about spiritual hygiene, is offended about that question. And like, this is a thing that I talk about a lot, and I've talked about it on my TikTok, and people were really enthusiastic and asking me a lot of questions about it. And that's what it is. Like, that's what it is. It's spiritual hygiene. Okay. Then every time I put, like, what's it called, like, product in this hair, then I get like shit, like bumps on my chest and like my face and stuff, because the product gets on my face, and my skin is so sensitive that it like creates whatever, you know. Just trying to make sure that the sound is still working. Okay, it's still working. So this person, they're really not my type, but I acquiesced because I wanted the attention, and the distraction and the affection, you know, all of that stuff. I didn't want to face myself and evolve because of this, like, by the feelings that I was feeling. I didn't want to do that work. But what ended up happening is I ended up having to do that work anyway, because, and also I had to do the work of facing that, like, I lowered my standards for someone that I didn't even like really like, and I wasn't really like attracted to, and they knew that they were like beneath me. And this is why they were like, I mean, I'm not gonna say that they were beneath me. I'm out of their league, and I'm not gonna front about that. So say I'm an asshole or a bitch or whatever if you want to, but I was out of their league, period, and they knew that. And that's why they acted shady and weird and crazy. But I'm grateful that they did, because it just drove me away. At a certain point, it was like, I don't know, like a week, 2 weeks into us like low-key talking, before I was like, okay, I think that I only want to be friends with this person. And they couldn't even deal with that. They were so fucking crazy. But so, like, it's an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity to deepen into your relationship with your higher self and become that version of yourself. Become aware of, become tuned into, tapped into, to channel that version of yourself, to be that version of yourself. So embrace it. Shimmering aventurine, the good luck stone, is a translucent green quartz. Okay, so everything that's happening, as I said, is just like the byproduct of all of this stuff being purged from you and pushed out of you. Okay, that's what that is. All of this is just that. And you can be scared, you can freak out, whatever, you can do all of that, but it's not necessary and it's not beneficial and it's not going to help you any. So my suggestion is to just use your tools to lean into the process and show up for it. Because actually, like, you're so lucky right now, you're so protected. Like, every time that these opportunities to evolve higher, to step into your power more comes up, just say yes to it. Just say yes to stepping into yourself, which might mean saying no to external situations and people, like I said from the very beginning. It's heart-centered, happy-go-lucky vibes are a reminder that this life on earth experiment is supposed to be fun. So we want to be creating from our happy place. We want to be manifesting from that place. We want to be moving from that space, because that is how we seed more of that. And once we seed that, that's what comes back to us. And then we're going to be enveloped in a Merkaba. We're going to be enveloped in a Merkaba. That's our divine feminine energy and our divine masculine energy. And it's going to be full of joy. It's going to be full of peace, prosperity, serenity, happiness, togetherness, harmony. Ultimately, it's going to be full of that energy, because that's what we have been expressing. That's what we have been putting out. So where to put it? Oh, who needs it? Melancholic inhabitants of ruts and funks, anybody with a side hustle. And I do feel like we are in a bit of like a rut energy that we're pulling ourselves out of. So the thing about the vernal equinox is that it's like here, and summer solstice is here. And we had to climb up. Oh, hello. We had to climb up to the summer solstice. Mind you, we've been climbing for a while, so I understand why so many of us are absolutely exhausted. Okay, from the bottom, at winter solstice, we climb up to vernal equinox, and from vernal equinox we climb up to summer solstice. So in summer solstice, this period of time, we have been becoming more clear on our power. We've been becoming more clear. Yeah, I'm tired too. We've been becoming more clear on excuse me, sorry. I'm so tired. We've been becoming more clear on like who we are. And it's been exhausting and it's been rigorous as we've been in the pressure cooker, and the pressure that turns coal into diamonds has been pressing out all of the iniquities that have been keeping us from being the crystalline being that we are. And it's been distorting our ability to call in what it is we need to call in. And the ajna, diamond ajna. The ajna is, in and of itself, is a crystal. And it has been having this tremendous pressure on it since the Great Conjunction in 2020 that has been turning it into a diamond, because before it was a piece of coal. Maybe for you it wasn't. Maybe it was a little bit higher vibrational. But it still needed to evolve higher. Because I don't know, this is obviously not true of, oh my god, the back of my head hurts. Anyway, this is obviously not true of crystals, but like, while the crystal is under pressure, I mean, while the diamond is under pressure, it doesn't suddenly go from being a piece of coal to a diamond. It becomes a diamond over the course of time. I think people forget about the process. Oh, one day I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be like all of a sudden in this place. Like, yo,